Hey, what's going on, everyone?
Hey, little boy. You want some free ice cream?
Really, mister?
Here you go.
Gee, thanks, mister. I love ice cream.
The ice cream man. He killed the park guy.
He killed Small Paul.
Are you serious? Oh. Well, that's terrible. That's just terrible. Well, someone should probably do something about that.
Go check with the neighbors.
Oh, that's disgusting. That can't be good. Oh. Someone should clean that up. What? It's cookies and cream. What is up, everyone? How you doing today? Welcome to VHS on Tape. My name is Keith, and on this channel I do movie reviews for horror movies that came out in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. If that seems like something you might enjoy, hit that subscribe button. Also, click the bell icon. That way you'll be notified when I upload new videos. Before we get into today's movie, I actually wanted to tell you about a more recent movie that I just watched called Summer of '84. It centers around 4 teenage boys in the summer of 1984 where kids are disappearing. It's listed as a drama, thriller, horror movie. Now, I would say it's definitely heavier on the drama and thriller side and fairly light on the horror, but I did think it was really well done and enjoyed watching it. So I would say check it out if you get the chance. Alright, so what do you guys want to look at today? I mean, I'm thinking since it's summer and it's been really hot out lately, that we should probably have something cold and refreshing. So, what better movie than Ice Cream Man? You guys down? Alright, well, let's get into it. Ice Cream Man is a story of a psychotic ice cream man who is adding some special ingredients to his ice cream offerings, and the 4 kids who discover what's going on and try to stop him. It came out on May 9th, 1995, and weighs in at 1 hour and 24 minutes. It had a $2 million budget. It was directed by Norman Apstein and was written by David Dobkin and Sven Davidson. Now, I remember seeing this at the video store when I was younger, and I mean, I never rented it, and boy am I glad that I didn't, because I would have been bummed to waste money on this one. This is another comedy horror movie, and while it does have some funny parts in it, overall, it's not good. And while watching this, I was reminded of movies like Uncle Sam and Pinocchio's Revenge. So if you've seen those, then they'll kind of give you an idea of what this is like. The movie starts off, like all great movies do, by having the Ice Cream King getting gunned down in the middle of the street, in the middle of the afternoon, in front of dozens of witnesses. And in the process, little Gregory Tudor gets caught in the crossfire. And apparently, this kid gets shot in the head, but he doesn't let that stop him from taking the push-up from the dead guy and eating it. Man, I mean, if he loves ice cream that much, I guess Ice Cream Man is probably the perfect job for him. We then meet grown-up Gregory Tudor, played by Clint Howard. You probably recognize him from, well, a lot actually. He has 250 acting credits on his IMDb, 16 of which were directed by his brother, Ron Howard. You might have heard of him. And here we are shown pretty quickly that Gregory isn't quite right. Then we have the main kids of the movie, Tuna. Yeah, Tuna, because this movie doesn't have enough other shit going on that they had to make a weird character name. Tuna is played by JoJo Adams, and there's not much you'd recognize him from. Johnny, played by Justin Isfeld, he was in several of the American Pie movies. And Heather, played by Andy McAfee, she's done a lot of voice work for video games. We then meet Small Paul. Small Paul. He is reading The Pied Piper, and that is a theme that they really beat you over the head with over and over again in this movie. We also get a quick introduction to the guy in the park, who definitely seems like he shouldn't be working anywhere near children.
That's what happens when you don't pay the piper.
You know, I feel like they could probably make a whole nother movie just about this guy. It definitely feels like he has a really dark backstory. Then the ice cream man shows up and presumably does something to the boy on the swing. We also get a small glimpse into Gregory's backstory as well. Next, we meet Heather's dad. Hey look, it's Waxwork Man! Or David Warner. He has a fairly small part in this movie, and none of his scenes are actually crucial to the plot at all. Then we see the ice cream man going to unload something out of his freezer, and it just happens to be screaming, when a dog shows up, and just in case we weren't really sure what kind of movie this was yet, he pulls out a push-up knife and kills the dog. Next, we meet Nurse Wharton, played by Olivia Hussey. Nurse Wharton is absolutely oblivious to just everything that is happening around her. Now, we find out later that Nurse Wharton was actually a nurse for 43 years, so she's supposed to be an old woman.
Your hearing is not what it used to be.
But Olivia Hussey was actually 43 when they filmed this. But instead of trying to put her in some makeup that would make her look older, they instead just put a great wig on her and called it good. And this is definitely not believable, but one good thing about this movie is that it doesn't try to be serious. I mean, it knows it's bad. Then we meet Johnny's family, where his mom has the quickest, most informative call ever.
Hello? Oh, hi! Well, no, I was just... Really? You're kidding me.
And we find out that the kid in the park is missing. Then we get a little bit more insight into Gregory's past, and we find out that Nurse Wharton is his landlord, and he pays her in gallons of ice cream.
Rent's due in a couple days.
4 gallons?
5.
Maybe I should think about getting some rental properties. Maybe. Then we meet Tuna's dad and find out that he is having an affair. Man, he's talking to his mistress right in front of his kid. What a jerk. Next, we meet Detective Maldwin on the right, played by Lee Majors II. His dad was a $6 million man. And Detective Gifford on the left, played by Jan Michael Vincent. You might have seen him in Airwolf. They tell him that a kid is missing and ask him if he's seen anything unusual, and if he does, to give them a call. Then Maldwin orders some ice cream, and we see that the ice cream man has been modifying his ice cream recipes. We also see that the detectives are pretty damn good at their job.
Hey, now that's an ice cream cone.
Whew, we can rest easy knowing they're on the case. Now, this scene is a little too much for me. I mean, first they specifically show Gregory just getting the whites of the eye, but when it's in the ice cream, you see the whole front part of the eye. And who the hell eats like that? I mean, he tongues the eyeball around for 12 seconds. I mean, I feel like they're just trying way too hard in this scene. Next, we meet the mistress, who, for some reason, flirts with Gregory by asking him about home delivery.
I'd like to buy a gallon of your, hard pack.
Now, I thought she was seeing Tuna's dad because he is the president of his company, but it turns out she just likes any guy who has a job. Then yet another flashback for Gregory. We find out later that he spent a lot of years at a place called Wishing Well for the Mentally Disturbed, where they preached,
There are no bad days, Gregory. Only happy, happy, happy days.
And gave him a lot of huge injections right into his brain. This is apparently what turned him into a psycho. Then we get a clip that doesn't have anything to do with anything, other than showing Heather's family is crazy. I feel like since they paid for David Warner and only had him for 2 days of shooting, they decided to do as much with him as they could.
The Archangel Gabriel speaking for your mother again.
I mean, because this scene really doesn't need to be in the movie. Then Tuna and Small Paul, Jesus, these names, decide to race to get some ice cream. Small Paul gets there first and develops a rapport with the ice cream man before realizing that he has the man in the park's pokey stick, which initially doesn't have any blood on it, then on a close-up, suddenly has blood all over it. And when Gregory realizes he's been caught, he nabs Small Paul. Now, Tuna sees this happen and runs away, but not before Gregory can recognize his shoes. Tuna then discovers that the boy in the park isn't dead, but that he's been hiding because he saw the ice cream man kill the old guy in the park. Tuna goes home to tell his dad, but before he can, his mom tells him,
Mister, shoes on the porch, you know the rules.
Looks like that's only a rule for him. And he isn't able to tell his dad because his parents are fighting. The next day, we see that the ice cream man knows where Tuna lives, and at this point, you may be wondering, why are there so many shots of shoes in this movie? Well, it's partly because Converse partially sponsored this movie, which also explains why a lot of the characters wear Chuck Taylor All-Stars in it. Then Tuna goes to the grocery store with his mom, where he runs into the ice cream man, and a ridiculous chase ensues. He gets away, but not before meeting this guy. Man, what is it with the old men in this town? They're all putting off a very kid-rapey vibe. Tuna tells his mom that the ice cream man killed Small Paul, and the cops get a search warrant and go to the ice cream parlor where he's staying. And they really bust up his shit good. I mean, if Gregory wasn't crazy before, this would definitely push him over the edge. And I like how the one cop doesn't even care about getting ice cream just all over his uniform. Ultimately, the cops don't find anything, including Small Paul, who was hidden behind the freezer, and they leave. And I do have to point out something clever that they do in this movie. They go back and forth from the back of the truck saying either watch out for children or just watch out children. I think that's a nice little touch that they added there. The kids then decide that they need to get proof that the ice cream man is killing people, so they follow him on their dildo bikes. I mean, seriously, how unobservant do you have to be to miss those bikes sitting under a streetlight? You know, I mean, maybe he has night blindness. Probably shouldn't be driving after dark. The kids follow him to a graveyard, and admittedly, they actually do a really good job of this scene, making you feel sorry for Gregory. That's quite unexpected for this movie. And along with that, for as bad as this movie is, Clint Howard actually does a pretty good job with the ice cream man character. I mean, he was a good casting choice. They get pics of the inside of his truck, but not before this happens. Jesus, maybe Tuna has night blindness too. Next, Gregory goes to visit the mistress and finds that Tuna's dad is already there. When the dad tries to leave, the ice cream truck is blocking him in, so he very rudely tries to get Gregory to move when this happens. Now, I kind of feel like this movie hits its stride a little bit in the next clip. After killing the dad, he goes to see the mistress, who isn't thrown off at all by what appears to be blood all over his uniform, and he offers her a supersized cone, before killing her too. I mean, it's just so ridiculous, it's funny. Then the detectives decide to go check out Wishing Well to ask about Gregory and Nurse Wharton. And, I mean, they really drag this the hell out. They spend over 6 actual minutes at this place, with a little over 3 minutes of that being allotted to the detectives just leaving the building. I mean, they've really got their money's worth from this sequence. You know, and I'm not sure which is worse, the 3 minutes they spend leaving in this movie, or the 3 minutes they spend investigating in Slithis. Next, while the kids are out biking, Tuna gets nabbed.
Trolling for tuna.
And we are given one of the more memorable lines of the movie.
Your ice cream.
After this, Johnny's brother offers to help, and they all head over to the ice cream parlor. Once there, Johnny's brother gets killed pretty quickly, along with his girlfriend. The kids escape, and what comes next is also pretty hilarious. These two cops were tailing Gregory, and he apparently killed them off-screen at some point. Now, I mean, there's no way they didn't realize that this is just ridiculous, so they keep it up for a while for comedic effect. Gregory is telling jokes, as the cops, then telling them that they're not funny.
Shut up. You're not funny.
I mean, it's actually pretty entertaining. The detectives show up and, surprisingly, are pretty damn worthless. Nurse Wharton hands the kids over to Gregory, thinking that they were playing a game. And just when it's not looking too good for the 3 kids, Small Paul shows up and saves the day. He grabs a picture of the Ice Cream King, the guy from the beginning, and Pied Pipers Gregory into the parlor, then into a giant mixer where he gets shredded. The movie ends with showing Small Paul in therapy, mixing up some ice cream, dressed in a child-sized ice cream man uniform, suggesting that he will take Gregory's place someday. Dang, I mean, this movie has a lot going on. And now for some fun facts. Jojo Adams had a pillow tucked under his shirt to make him look fatter for his role as Tuna. Cookies and cream ice cream is my favorite, just in case anyone ever wants to get me some. Wouldn't complain. Mashed potatoes were used as a substitute for ice cream in a lot of the shots. I actually wrote a poem recently. You want to hear it? Now, summertime's here, babe. Need something to keep you cool. Ah, now, summertime's here, babe. Need something to keep you cool. I'm your ice cream man. Stop me when I'm passing by. Oh, my, I'm your ice cream man. Stop me when I'm passing by. See now, all my flavors are guaranteed to satisfy. I got all flavors and push-ups too. What'd you think? Yeah, that's an original. I wrote that. But don't look it up. So, would I recommend watching Ice Cream Man?
No.
It does have some clever, funny things that they put in it, but overall, I would say only watch this if you're really, really in the mood for a bad movie. And if you do want to check it out, I'll put a link in the description. So what did you think? Have you seen Ice Cream Man? Did you like it? Let me know in the comments. In my last review, I did a movie called Waxwork, and I'll put a link to that in case you want to check it out. Well, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.